Are you curious about Rimthreaded? Imagine a gameplay experience where your colony thrives and achieves victory without any hiccups or delays. Rimthreaded is the key to that experience, and it is here to change the game. Rimthreaded is a mod for the video game Rimworld and was created for the sole purpose of speeding up the game. In a typical playthrough of Rimworld, you will find that after many hours of gameplay, the game may become sluggish. This is normally caused mostly by pawns. Pawns are classified as all animals and characters on a given map, and more specifically, all the jobs, pathfinding, and actions these pawns can take. So how does Rimthreaded make a difference in an ordinary playthrough? On a vanilla playthrough, pawns will take turns calling the main thread for pathfinding or an action such as eating. These calls will happen in order. You will notice this because only a few animals will be doing anything in the background. Rimthreaded, on the other hand, causes all animals on a given map to move and perform tasks at the same time. This is the first sign that shows you Rimthreaded is working. You will also be able to pass time in the game substantially faster than in vanilla, as Rimthreaded allows you to increase the maximum ticks per second. Rimthreaded works to separate the workload that is placed on the main thread of calculations in Rimworld. It does this by having the main thread be the boss of the program. All the worker threads then ask the main thread for work to be completed. Then the different calculations are computed asynchronously, or in other words, in any order. That means everything that needs to be done in terms of pathfindings and actions will be sent to the workers. Once the calculations are done, the worker threads report back to the main thread for more work. Now, there are a couple things I need to clarify. Rimthreaded increases ticks per second, not frame rate. These two metrics, tick rate and frame rate, are somewhat intertwined. A high tick rate typically reduces frame rate, since CPU calculations may be completed far quicker than GPU calculations. To account for this, frame rate is lowered. When playing at a slower rate, the GPU will have time to perform the necessary calculations, thus increasing the frame rate. Rimthreaded is not infinitely scalable. What does this mean, you might ask? It means that you won't be able to fully saturate a processor with high core/thread count. The reason for this is everything is tied to a main thread, and because of this, you are limited by the fastest thread available on your machine. Your core count represents the physical cores on a processor, and the thread count represents your total logical cores. For increased performance in Rimworld, it is crucial to have a processor that can execute a high number of instructions per clock cycle, in addition to having a high clock speed. So you might be asking, who is this mod for? It is intended for everyone. If you are running Rimworld on an older computer and struggling in the late game, Rimthreaded will help you, because it offloads the main thread, allowing the game to utilize your processor more effectively. If you have a more modern computer, the same principle applies. The difference is that an older machine will probably notice a larger improvement percentage-wise than a forward-looking system. That does not mean older hardware performs better than newer hardware. It just means that the increase is larger, because older hardware benefits from being utilized in a multi-threading capacity. You can test the main differences by just turning the mod on or off. To measure tick rate in Rimworld without Rimthreaded, you will need a separate mod, GMT ticks per second for Rimworld 1.4. Rimthreaded as a mod comes pre-bundled with a tick rate mod. You can also try to limit the threads to 1, and it may behave more like normal Rimworld. The only issue is Rimthreaded does some code optimization on the base game, so it is not exactly one-to-one. So in conclusion, Rimthreaded is a mod that speeds up Rimworld by allowing the game to use multiple threads for anything happening with pawns in the game, thereby allowing you to have a colony of more substantial size and still retain a decent tick rate. That way you can finish your game sooner rather than later.